Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another weekly forecast / breakdown. Before we get started, we're going to have a look at Forex Factory and see what news is upcoming next week, as this is the main key thing that we look at to actually help us get in on trades and when to sort of expect reversals to occur. News sort of injects that volatility into the market, and then it uses that volatility to basically for the market to expand in certain occasions. Now you can see that on Monday we don't have any news at all. Tuesday we've got Powell speaking, PMI and JOLTS at 3 p.m. ADP non-farm employment change at 1:15 on Wednesday, and then Thursday we seem to have NFP unemployment rate on Thursday because there is a bank holiday on a Friday. So I expect Thursday to be the main expansion sort of day, which can potentially lead to another expansion on the Monday the following week. Now, I think we potentially could be getting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday sort of consolidation, and then maybe Wednesday, Thursday because there's one less day. So I'll be keeping an eye out towards the second part of the week, especially maybe not trading the day before NFP and just focusing on Thursday going into next week. So with that information, let's sort of get in and have a look at gold initially and see where we are for the week. Now, I did mention on my Telegram that it's a bit interesting on what's going on with the market. Obviously, gold started flying before the news about the Iran war. Now then they end up having a ceasefire, so you can end up you see that the market is falling down. However, it doesn't really help when dollar index is also weak as well, and this is against the dollar. Yet if both are weak, something's going on here. So there is a bit of manipulation going on here at the moment, and I'm going to talk a bit more about manipulation when I talk about indices and Nasdaq. Apologies. And so yeah, I'll be getting onto that manipulation then. But for now, daily time frame, we are currently sitting in this daily fair value gap, right? So I said on my Telegram that I'm going to be keeping an eye on this daily fair value gap. If price sort of uses it, it can use it as a potential place of support. I'm going to be watching key sell side inefficiencies, and to see if those sort of get rebalanced, or if they get respected, then potentially price will push further down. So if you have a look at the lower time from here, we drop down to the 4 hour, we can see that from that 1 hour fair value gap that I mentioned last week, here was at the previous weekly low. Price used it as resistance in that way, and then price ended up falling down towards the end of the week. But what was crazy about that week was you can see that Monday from Tuesday all the way till Thursday evening. Well, yeah, potentially Thursday evening, I'd say Thursday actually. So from Tuesday to Thursday, this was all just a pullback, just to get people excited on that the market's pushing up, or the market, and loads of sellers who have been getting it early would have been getting taken out. And then once price sort of got into that 1 hour fair value gap and then actually broke on the 1 hour time frame, and you can see these lows, right? If you mark these lows, you can see that this low, and then these sort of lows ended up was still respected. Nothing's being broken here, and you can see that price ended up giving one more push during London session, fully filled this 1 hour fair value gap, and then we ended up getting a change in structure. Price then pushes down and closes below the prior swing low, right? And then price needs to do is just retrace to that same level, and you would have got a nice entry to the downside. Now again, this did happen overnight, so the whole move to the downside happened overnight. So we weren't involved in this move. We waited for it. We didn't get it. Obviously, I was looking for something around here. However, this rejection on this 1 hour candle after unemployment claims, I believe. Yeah, let's see what it was. Give me a sec. GDP, actually, sorry. So with GDP, then price absolutely fell towards the downside. So we ended up missing our trade, which took out this low. So going into this week, you can see that price is at this daily fair value gap at the moment. We want to see exactly how price reacts. I'm going to get my key level where I'm going to be watching, and that will potentially be this sort of 1 hour fair value gap I want to keep an eye on. Is it going to be magnetic? No, it's not. Like this. There you go. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this 1 hour fair value gap. Maybe another one might get created later on. The reason why I'm keeping an eye on this is if you start to see price start to push back up here at the start of the week and close above all of this level, then you could potentially see that price may use that as support to push price back up. So this is how you can potentially use these fair value gaps as inverted fair value gaps as levels to provide support on price. So yeah, quite interesting stuff. So if we leave that for now on gold, I'll just probably be sitting out for a bit. I'll be staying back. I know we've got Thursday, which is going to be our main day. So if there's anything clear on Thursday and we haven't got that reversal or anything, then I will get involved. If not, right, so this is why I'm trying to give you the other scenario. You potentially should get a little retracement at the start of the week here. And if you know the fair value gaps are being respected and you're not getting any closes above, then you could potentially see another expansion back down lower. So it depends exactly how the week goes. If market just pushes towards the downside at the start of the week, takes out the weekly lows, takes out all the liquidity, then we potentially could get a bullish move towards the end of the week. If price pushes up here, we could get another push towards the downside. So there are two scenarios. It's not as clear. Obviously, trend is your friend at the moment, so follow the current trend. But we are, you know, I do feel like this is all manipulation at the moment because we do have a lot of liquidity towards the upside. So I'm going to be waiting for that trend change. I'm not getting involved. I'm not sort of forcing it. I'm going to be waiting. Right now we are in a downtrend. Let's just wait, see what we get. Potentially we could get some sort of breakout here, and then going into next week, the following week after, in mid-July, you could get a potential clean bullish move back up to that target I've been sort of keeping an eye on. So it's just timing. Let's see what happens. Might be a deeper retracement we're getting. But that's all for gold. Time to get into a NASDAQ, which I'm starting to get more confident with. So I potentially can speak on this more for myself, in my opinion. Now, what a week we had on NASDAQ with the whole war thing, ceasefire, blah, blah, blah. You know, as soon as it happened, then price absolutely skyrocketed and took out the all-time highs. And this shows you, you know, how they potentially use news to confuse the rest of us, right? It confuses the rest of us because price was around here, right? And a lot of people are saying, no, we're going to go down, we're going to go back down. And I've said to them time and time again that no, we're here. I've not seen any big bearish candle which closes below any of these higher time frame lows, so long time frame lows. Look at these. And I told you that these bearish candles will provide support for price to push up, right? And none of these were invalidated at all. So I was still bullish, right? So the start of the week opened up. It opened quite low. It opened quite low down here. And I wasn't selling, I was waiting for the bullish moves, right? So then once price sort of pushed back towards the upside here, you can see that this new week opening out that we ended up creating, which was around about here, for example, we used it as support and potentially we used these 1 hour fair value gaps as supports as well. So you can see right here, where are we? We have a 1 hour fair value gap right there, like so. So if price, this was an inverted fair value gap at this point, why? Because the market closed below and opened right below this, price would have filled into this fair value gap, and if it respected it, it would have went lower. However, look what price did. It closed above this fair value gap, right? So this is now being used as support. Look at that, clean bodies within this fair value gap, and which is why price skyrocketed higher on Monday. And that would have been the confirmation that we are going to have another bullish week. And the only clear target at that point was these buy sides, but was the all-time high clearly. And then price absolutely continued going into Tuesday and pushed all the way back up here. So now it's like the mid part of the week. We're at Wednesday here and price is already at the all-time high. A lot of people are looking at selling here. And I say time and time again, when you are in a bull run, you do not sell, you join the trend. It's quite clear that market will potentially could carry on, right? You're not at any key level. It's at all-time highs at the moment, so you don't know when it will reverse. You just join the move, okay? So I was going to focus on the latter part of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on US 100, which is what I was doing. And you can see that from here, this area here, price was still climbing up, right? London, early part of US session, then we have the news and price dropped with the news. At that point, when price dropped with the news, I was trying to get involved in the sell, slightly missed it. I think we missed our entry. But once we ended up getting this drop down here, this is where we were loading on our buys. We waited for a reversal pattern. We got it. This is a 15, you know, you got fair value gap right here. You wait for SMT, you get that, you climb. Where do you attack? You attack the next previous high back again. Why? Because loads of people are going to be looking for shorts to get that price back below. However, that's where they'll place their stop losses. So price goes and attacks that and pushes up higher. Then price continues to push up higher, and then we get Thursday, right? So Thursday comes up, and then price is pushing up here. Where we have our Asia session sort of low and high is here. So I'll mark this out, and this is what I look for. Let's say there's your consolidation for the Asia session, right? You wait for price to sort of clear out a liquidity and look at this London session liquidity. And I mentioned this on the VIP channel, saying that, look, we're getting accumulation in both Asia session and London session, which tells us there's going to be some crazy manipulation which will occur. And you can see what happens that right before the news on Friday, which is called PCE, price manipulated the highs and then absolutely push towards the downside, manipulate the lows. And this is where people think that now price is going to reverse, right? Wrong. Because it kicks in with the timing at 9:30, New York open, price continued its bullish run up to take out that high. Now, because it's Friday, we are now expecting a TGIF setup, which is why I was looking to sell at this candle. I shared this on the free Telegram. If you guys are not in that free Telegram, the link is in the description. You can see that this bearish candles, I was expecting for a big bearish move. However, price pushed back up one more time. And then with the PM session, price absolutely took out all the lows it created on that Friday. And it was, you know, that was the plan done. So going into next week, quite simple, right? Quite simple indeed. If you look at the daily candles, right, we have a daily fair value gap here. If price clearly closes below this daily candle, daily fair value gap right there, then price is bearish. However, price can use this. I will continue this bullish momentum. A weekly candle, you got the weekly high, you have the weekly low, very big bullish weekly candle. You're going to go into next week expecting another bullish week to take out the weekly high. So 22,600 is your main targets of the week. So if you start to get some sort of retracement back down below the sort of Friday low, that's going to be key for buyers, man. If you get price starting to push down here after that daily fair value gap, you then go and target the highs, and we continue its move higher. That's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like. Links are all in the description. It's been Oasis FX. Peace out.